At 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in Kingston Harbour, something remarkable is happening that most Jamaicans will never see. A container ship carrying 12,000 boxes, each one filled with someone's iPhone, someone's medical supplies, someone's Christmas gifts, has just 8 hours to offload 3,000 containers, load 2,500 more, refuel, and depart. 8 hours. That's the game. Miss that window, and the shipping company loses hundreds of thousands of dollars. This happens 400 times per day in Singapore, 350 times in Rotterdam, maybe 200 times in Dubai. In Kingston, right now, about 15 times per day. But here's what nobody's talking about. In July 2025, while the world was busy watching other news, Jamaica quietly signed $130 million in port expansion deals. 2 weeks later, cranes worth $24 million, each one taller than a 10-story building, were installed at Kingston's waterfront. Last month, shipping volumes hit numbers that would have seemed impossible 5 years ago. A 700-acre special economic zone just broke ground. International logistics companies are suddenly returning phone calls from Jamaican officials. Something is shifting in the Caribbean. And Jamaica is betting everything on the idea that geography is destiny. That if you're sitting 800 miles from the Panama Canal with the 7th largest natural harbor in the world, eventually, the ships will come. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud: so is every other country in the Caribbean. The Dominican Republic just secured $760 million to crush Jamaica's ambitions. The Bahamas is 65 miles from Florida, Jamaica is not. Colombia sits right at the Panama Canal entrance. Cuba is waking up. Even tiny islands are making their move. And Jamaica? Jamaica has been promising to become a logistics powerhouse since 2013. 12 years of announcements, 12 years of, next year we'll really do it. But 2025 feels different. The question is, different how? Different like, finally getting serious, different? Or different like, too late, the window closed, different? I'm going to show you what Jamaica has actually built, who they're really competing against, and whether this island of 2.8 million people can pull off one of the most audacious economic transformations in Caribbean history, or if this is just another dream that sounds better in a campaign speech than it works in reality. Because here's what's at stake: 30,000 jobs. Billions in GDP. Jamaica's entire economic future. So, can Jamaica really become a logistics powerhouse? Let's find out. To understand why Jamaica believes it can become a logistics powerhouse, you need to understand geography. Look at a map of the Western Hemisphere. Jamaica sits almost perfectly positioned at the crossroads of major shipping routes between North America, South America, Central America, and Europe. Kingston Harbour is the 7th largest natural harbour in the world. It's deep, protected, and positioned just 800 miles from the Panama Canal. Within reach of Jamaica's ports and airports is a market of 800 million people across the Americas. In 2013, Jamaica's government officially launched the Global Logistics Hub initiative. The vision was bold: transform Jamaica into a comprehensive logistics center offering not just transshipment where cargo is moved from one ship to another, but value-added services like warehousing, light manufacturing, assembly, and distribution. The minister at the time, Anthony Hilton, described it as Jamaica's opportunity to leverage the radical shift in global trade geography following the Panama Canal expansion, which was completed in 2016. The Panama Canal expansion was crucial to this vision. The widened canal could now handle massive Neo-Panamax vessels carrying up to 14,000 containers. These mega ships needed deep water ports nearby to offload cargo destined for smaller Caribbean islands and Latin American markets. Jamaica saw its moment, but so did everyone else. The Bahamas upgraded Freeport. The Dominican Republic massively invested in Cosado. Colombia expanded Cartagena. Panama itself developed world-class transshipment facilities at Colón. Cuba was preparing to enter the game. Even tiny Antigua was making moves. The Caribbean transshipment market became a battleground. And Jamaica needed to prove it could compete. Fast forward to 2025. After more than a decade, what has actually happened? While the grand vision hasn't fully materialized, Jamaica has quietly become a serious player in Caribbean logistics. Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, the main container terminal, has recorded a 55% increase in volume over the past 4 years, growing from fewer than 900,000 container moves in 2021 to a projected 1.4 million in 2025. Cargo volume at the Port of Kingston has increased by 60% over the past decade. The workforce has expanded by 50%, creating more than 500 high-quality jobs just at the main terminal. In July 2025, Jamaica signed agreements for $130 million in port expansion, the $80 million Westlands expansion project, and $50 million in additional Port Authority investments. 2 state-of-the-art ship-to-shore cranes, valued at almost $24 million, have just been installed. These cranes can handle the largest vessels calling the region, ships carrying up to 15,000 containers. Kingston Freeport Terminal has invested over $400 million in capital improvements under a 30-year concession agreement with CMA-CGM, one of the world's largest shipping companies. And then, in July 2025, something that had been promised for years finally happened. Ground was broken for the Caymanas Special Economic Zone, a 700-acre logistics park adjacent to the Port of Kingston. Prime Minister Andrew Holness called it a defining moment in the continued transformation of Jamaica's economic landscape. The Caymanas, says, is designed to be more than warehouses. The plans include solar-powered microgrids, intelligent logistics systems, electric shuttle services, and direct connectivity to both the Port of Kingston and Norman Manley International Airport. It's expected to generate more than 4,000 jobs and attract significant foreign investment into Jamaica's footprint in the $560 billion global logistics market. So yes, things are happening. Real infrastructure. Real investment. Real growth. But is it enough? Can Jamaica actually compete with its better-funded, more established rivals? That's the question we need to answer. To understand Jamaica's chances, we need to look at who they're competing against. And the competition is fierce. Let's start with Jamaica's biggest rival, the Dominican Republic's Caucedo Port, managed by DP World. In May 2025, DP World signed a landmark $760 million agreement with the Dominican government to massively expand Caucedo. Half of that $380 million is going directly into port expansion, new quays, modern ship-to-shore cranes, automation, security upgrades. The other $380 million is developing the free trade zone adjacent to the port, 225 hectares of industrial land ready for manufacturing and logistics operations. The goal? Increase container handling capacity from 2.5 million TEUs to 3.1 million TEUs and create an integrated port industrial ecosystem. Currently, Kingston handles approximately 1.9 million TEUs annually. Caucedo is already ahead at 2.5 million and rapidly expanding. And here's the kicker. The Dominican Republic has a labor force of 5.3 million people, nearly double Jamaica's entire population. Then there's Freeport in the Bahamas. Due to its proximity to the United States, just 65 miles from Florida, Freeport has become a critical transshipment hub for U.S.-bound cargo. Several major shipping companies have established their Caribbean transshipment operations there specifically because of the minimal deviation from transatlantic routes. Colombia's Cartagena represents another tier of competition entirely. Positioned right at the Panama Canal's Caribbean entrance, Cartagena benefits from virtually zero deviation for ships transiting the canal. It's become a preferred hub for major shipping alliances and handles substantial South American cargo flows. Here's a crucial concept in transshipment: Deviation distance. Every mile a ship must deviate from its optimal route costs time and fuel. The less deviation, the more attractive a port becomes. Research shows that Jamaica's Kingston and the Dominican Republic's Cocado benefit from what's called the Windward Passage Cluster, a low-deviation corridor for ships moving between the Panama Canal and the U.S. East Coast. But Panama's own ports Balboa and Colón have virtually zero deviation because ships are already entering the canal. So, what's Jamaica's competitive position? According to industry analysis, Jamaica and the Bahamas have the best geographical position among independent Caribbean ports. Kingston particularly benefits from its deep natural harbor, which requires less dredging than artificially deepened ports. The harbor can accommodate the largest container ships without the depth constraints that limit some competitors. But geography alone doesn't win in modern logistics. Here's what actually determines who wins the transshipment battle. 1. Port efficiency. How quickly can you load and unload ships? Kingston has made major improvements here. The addition of new cranes and automation means larger vessels can be serviced more efficiently. 2. Terminal costs. Jamaica benefits from competitive labor costs compared to U.S. ports, but so do all Caribbean competitors. The differentiation comes from operational efficiency and avoiding congestion. 3. Connectivity. How many shipping lines call your port? Kingston serves multiple major carriers, but so do Cocado and Freeport. This is where Jamaica needs to grow. 4. Hinterland access. This is where Jamaica has struggled. It's not enough to move containers from ship to ship. Modern logistics hubs need supporting infrastructure, warehouses, distribution centers, light manufacturing, road and rail connections. This is why the Caymanas Special Economic Zone matters so much. Without it, Jamaica is essentially just a transshipment point. Ships come, containers get transferred, ships leave. There's value in that, but it's limited. The real money in global logistics comes from value-added services, storing cargo in sophisticated warehouses, customizing products for specific markets, assembling components, providing just-in-time delivery. Singapore doesn't dominate Asian logistics because it has good ports, though it does. Singapore dominates because it created an entire ecosystem around logistics, world-class infrastructure, streamlined regulations, skilled workforce, and integration of sea, air, and land transport. That's Jamaica's challenge. Can it build not just a port, but an ecosystem? Let's be honest about where Jamaica stands in late 2025. Progress is real, but so are the challenges. Remember how Jamaica's entire logistics hub vision was built around the Panama Canal expansion? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Academic research has shown that the canal expansion didn't benefit Caribbean transshipment ports as much as predicted. A comprehensive study examining 100 ports in Latin America and the Caribbean found that while the Panama Canal expansion significantly increased cargo volumes in Latin American ports, several Caribbean transshipment ports actually experienced losses in container throughput. Why? Because the larger ships enabled by the canal expansion could sail directly from Asia to U.S. East Coast ports, like New York, Savannah, and Charleston, bypassing Caribbean transshipment hubs entirely. The study specifically noted that megaships' introduction to the Caribbean didn't necessarily benefit transshipment ports due to inability to accommodate Neo-Panamax vessels, lack of proactiveness to global changes, poor port infrastructure, and competition from regional ports. Jamaica has addressed some of these issues. The new cranes can handle 15,000 TEU vessels. Dredging has deepened the harbor approaches. But the fundamental challenge remains. Direct Asia to U.S. East Coast routes are often more economical than transshipment through the Caribbean. Port capacity is only useful if you can move cargo efficiently inland. And this is where Jamaica faces serious limitations. Road infrastructure around Kingston has improved, with projects like the Mandela Highway upgrade. But the broader road network remains constrained. Truck turnaround times at the port have been reduced by 30% through collaboration with customs and port authorities, which is excellent progress, but industry experts note that Jamaica still needs better integration of road, rail, and air transport. The government plans to relocate Kingston Pen Aerodrome to free up land for port expansion. They're discussing moving Marcus Garvey Drive. These are significant land use decisions that take years to implement and require careful planning. The original logistics hub vision from 2013 estimated that achieving Singapore-level infrastructure would require $8 to $10 billion in investment. To date, Jamaica has invested probably 5–10% of that figure. Modern logistics requires specialized skills: supply chain analytics, green logistics, renewable energy systems, digital technologies, automated cargo handling. Jamaica has made significant investments in workforce development. The government eliminated tuition fees for technology-related training programs through HART/NSTA Trust. The business process outsourcing sector now employs over 52,000 Jamaicans, demonstrating the country's capacity to develop skilled workers. But logistics-specific training remains limited. Industry representatives have consistently pointed to workforce development as a critical gap that must be filled. Universities are beginning to offer logistics and supply chain management programs, but the scale needs to increase dramatically. One shipping industry leader put it bluntly: "We have the location, maritime access, and workforce potential. What we lack is a strategy to unlock those assets at scale." Jamaica's logistics growth is happening during a global push for sustainability. The port industry is under pressure to reduce emissions, protect marine environments, and implement green technologies. The Caymanas SEZ promises solar power and sustainable design. Kingston Port is investing in LED lighting and hybrid straddle carriers. But these are small steps compared to what's needed. Caribbean ports face a particular challenge: climate change. Rising sea levels, increasing hurricane intensity, and coastal erosion threaten port infrastructure. Any long-term logistics hub strategy must account for climate resilience, which adds cost and complexity. Here's an uncomfortable fact: there are too many Caribbean ports chasing the same transshipment business. Kingston, Freeport, Cocado, Cartagena, Cologne, potentially Cuba, all competing for finite cargo volumes. Research suggests the Caribbean transshipment market cannot support all these competitors at maximum capacity. Industry analysts predict a rationalization is coming. Shipping lines will consolidate around 2 or 3 preferred hubs, and the others will face declining volumes. Which ports survive and thrive will depend on efficiency, connectivity, cost, and critically the value-added services they offer beyond basic transshipment. So yes, Jamaica faces real challenges, but it also has real advantages and momentum. The question is, what needs to happen for Jamaica to actually pull this off? Let's talk about what success actually looks like for Jamaica's logistics ambitions and what needs to happen to get there. First, Jamaica needs to be honest about its objectives. Becoming the 4th global logistics node alongside Singapore, Dubai, and Rotterdam? That's probably not realistic. Those are city-states or emirates with decades of development, massive financial resources, and enormous hinterlands. But becoming the leading logistics hub in the Caribbean? That's absolutely achievable, and it would still represent a transformative economic impact. In Singapore, logistics and transportation contribute 8% of GDP and employ 200,000 people. If Jamaica achieved even half that proportional impact, it would add billions to the economy and create 30,000–40,000 jobs. That's a realistic, achievable goal worth pursuing. What needs to happen short-term are: 1. Complete the Caymanas Special Economic Zone first phase. This cannot be another delayed project. The Port Authority has been tasked with de-risking the project and securing anchor tenants. Success here demonstrates Jamaica can execute complex logistics infrastructure. 2. Maximize the Westlands expansion. The $80 million investment adds 15 hectares and increases cargo capacity by 25%. This must be completed on schedule and immediately utilized to attract new shipping line customers. 3. Accelerate workforce development. Scale up logistics training programs at universities and technical colleges. Partner with international logistics companies to provide hands-on training. Create clear pathways from education to employment in the sector. 4. Digital integration. Implement modern port community systems, single windows for trade, and digital tracking. Jamaica must become the most digitally advanced port in the Caribbean. What needs to happen medium term are: 1. Develop value-added logistics services. This is critical. Jamaica cannot compete on transshipment alone. The country needs to attract companies that will use Jamaica as a base for light manufacturing, product customization, e-commerce fulfillment, and regional distribution. Think about Amazon establishing a Caribbean distribution hub in Jamaica. Or automotive parts companies using Jamaica for assembly and distribution to Latin America. Or pharmaceutical companies leveraging Jamaica's location for regional cold chain logistics. 2. Air cargo development. The logistics hub vision has always included air cargo, but it's been neglected. Norman Manley International Airport needs dedicated air cargo infrastructure. Consider what Miami has done combining sea and air logistics to become a hemispheric gateway. 3. Special economic port zones. Some experts have proposed creating sector-specific ports along Jamaica's coast. One focused on e-commerce, another on renewable energy components, another on automotive parts. Each managed by international logistics leaders under government oversight. This model, used successfully in Dubai and Singapore, attracts private investment without burdening taxpayers and creates competition that drives efficiency. 4. Regional trade integration. Jamaica should pursue logistics agreements with Caribbean neighbors, Central American countries, and South American partners. Becoming the hub requires being connected to the spokes. What needs to happen long-term are: 1. Rail integration. Currently absent from Jamaica's logistics infrastructure is meaningful rail connectivity. Connecting the port of Kingston to key inland destinations via freight rail would dramatically improve efficiency and reduce road congestion. 2. Northern Corridor development. Jamaica has focused heavily on Kingston. But developing logistics capabilities along the north coast near Montego Bay and Ocho Rios could serve cruise ship provisioning, resort supply chains, and create redundancy for hurricane resilience. 3. Green logistics leadership. Position Jamaica as the Caribbean's leader in sustainable logistics. Solar-powered warehouses, electric cargo vehicles, emissions reduction, renewable energy integration. This attracts environmentally conscious companies and qualifies Jamaica for green financing. 4. Financial services integration. True logistics hubs offer integrated financial services, trade finance, currency exchange, insurance, and dispute resolution. Jamaica's financial sector should be positioned to support the logistics ecosystem. 1. Encouraging development. Jamaica's logistics hub vision has bipartisan political support. Both the governing Jamaica Labour Party and the opposition People's National Party have endorsed the initiative. This continuity matters because logistics infrastructure requires decades of consistent policy. But political support must translate to action. That means streamlined regulatory approvals for logistics projects, tax incentives that attract international operators, investment in supporting infrastructure, protection against corruption and bureaucratic delays. Jamaica cannot do this alone. The government simply doesn't have the capital. Success requires massive private sector investment. The CMA-CGM partnership at Kingston Port demonstrates what's possible. A global shipping company invests $400 million because they see long-term profit potential. Jamaica needs more of these partnerships across the entire logistics value chain: warehousing, distribution, light manufacturing, technology systems, training facilities. Jamaica's 3 million-strong diaspora represents another critical asset. Diaspora members have capital, international business connections, and emotional investment in Jamaica's success. Creating investment vehicles that allow diaspora to participate in logistics infrastructure while maintaining government oversight and local benefit could unlock billions in additional capital. So, can Jamaica really become a logistics powerhouse? Here's the honest answer. Jamaica can become a significant regional logistics hub that transforms its economy, creates tens of thousands of jobs, and positions the island as a critical node in Caribbean and Latin American trade. Will it reach the level of Singapore, Dubai, or Rotterdam? Almost certainly not. Those are different scales entirely. But can Jamaica become the Caribbean's leading logistics center, surpassing or matching Freeport, Cusco, and other regional competitors? Yes, absolutely. The foundation is there. Jamaica has the geography. It has the natural harbor. It has improving infrastructure. It has workforce potential. It has political stability. And it has momentum. What Jamaica needs now is execution, completing the projects that have been promised, attracting the private investment required, developing the specialized workforce, and building the value-added services that differentiate a true logistics hub from a simple transshipment point. The next 5 years will determine whether Jamaica's logistics hub dream becomes reality or joins the long list of grand visions that never quite materialized. The pieces are moving. The investments are happening. The question is no longer if, it's how far and how fast. Jamaica's logistics ambition is bold, maybe even audacious. But in a world where supply chains are being redrawn and regional hubs are becoming more important than ever, audacity might be exactly what's required. What do you think? Is Jamaica's logistics hub vision realistic? What would you prioritize if you were planning this transformation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis valuable, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into Jamaica's economic development, infrastructure projects, and the future of global trade. Thanks for watching. Until next time.